This is Mark Goldberg. Welcome to the program. Welcome to the show. I am your host, Mark Goldberg, and you are joining Rebelstream number 6 on Mark Vlogs Watches. I don't get mad. I get even, and I have promised 100 Rebel streams. Join the Alliance, fight Jabba, do it along with me. Hey guys, it's all in good fun. Nobody's really mad here. We're just enjoying watch talk, and I certainly am enjoying your company. So, a couple of quick housekeeping things. If you are not joining me live, but you are, I'm laughing because Val and Gray Moon, as usual, is first. First fist, respectos, and welcome to the program. Valen. Anyway, if you guys are not joining me live, you may find some annoying chit chat about the live stream and silly stuff. However, there is a topic for this Rebel stream, and it is why I hate Rolex vintage. So we will definitely be talking all about that. You can push ahead about 5 minutes if you want to get into the meat and potatoes of this video, and I will certainly also be entertaining your views on Rolex vintage, your watch talk, your Rolex questions, and pretty much anything you want to talk about, as long as it's more or less focused on watches. So first, let's talk about the guys that have joined us here and what our purpose is. I heart sushi. First, Fistos Emeritus. Actually emeritus. Thank you for joining us. I heart sushi. Craig, shit, like, subscribe, tell all your friends. Rebel Wilson streaming. That's what we are doing right here today. Will the Rancher join us? I can't be sure, but I certainly hope so. So Rancher, if you're watching this, feel free to come on in and join me, or tell me, get a hold of me by text. But, listen, guys, at the end of the day, I also like my time alone with you. This is just our cuddle time. We're going to Netflix and chill and talk about watches. Darren Brown, thank you for another Rebel stream. Here's what Rebel streaming is. If you want to go, listen to Jabba talk to a bunch of people who really don't know anything about watches, and you want to hear Peyton Place, well, you go right ahead. We're going to be talking about watches here on this channel. And not only that, we don't yell and scream at each other. We just have a good time. Jay Fells says, I stopped by an AD yesterday and they said a day date yellow gold onyx is coming in. Is it worth coming? Is it worth getting? I hear they're becoming a list watch. It's becoming an A-list watch. I personally love the day date, number one. Number two, I particularly love the day dates with the uncommon dials. The champagne dial, the white, the stark white dial with Romans, Negroni time, guys. I'm kind of halfway into it already. The gold or yellow colored dial, But when you start getting into the unusual, the interesting dials, and particularly the minerals, and oh my God, the unobtainable meteorite dial, you absolutely have my interest. Do I think it's worth getting? Absolutely, yeah. If you're in the market for a day date, I feel like a slice of mineral, something that comes out of the earth, millions of years old, formed by time and pressure, much like myself. Is definitely worth having. I wouldn't worry if it's becoming an A-list watch. Who cares? All you really need to know with a Rolex is, will I be able to get my money out of it if the world implodes? And the answer is, you betcha. Yo, Mark, nice to see you, and you too, proud, brave one. A watch of Wall Street. A good day, mate. If you hate, I like to watch. If you hate Rolex vintage, how do you justify? Oh, it's about the heritage. You might not buy, but you shouldn't hate the OG, the old original gangster. I do hate it, and I'm going to talk to you about a little bit about why. I feel like Rolex coasted on their laurels for a really long time. I feel like the modern stuff is untouchable and unbeatable. And listen, I enjoy the heritage of automotives, right? But I'm not driving a freaking Model T either. Okay, I'm not going to go out and crank my car. So I appreciate where they came from, but oh my God, did they hold on to that to sort of like crappy, ridiculous construction for far too long? And we'll talk about that. But hey, guys, I am not here to tell you you're stupid if you like it. I'm just telling you why I don't like it. I Heart Sushi post workday watch talk. I love it. That is the whole point of Rebel streaming here, guys. You know, I can't do this alone. I can only do this with you. If I Rebel stream to an empty hall, then I am lecturing unto myself. And he who lectures himself has a fool for an audience. I just made that up. Write it down. Sounds good. I think it's a bit of a Mark Goldbergism. By the way, I would like to point out how I drink a Negroni. Please watch the pinky finger. There are innumerable videos of Bear Clooney drinking pinky up. Myself, I'm a pinky down kind of guy. I'm not entirely sure what it means. Tell me what you think. Watch Wall Street. Love the day date, but the gold black dial, not so much value on resale. Who cares? You would definitely be able to get out of it if you wanted to. It's so easy to get if you want. I've been offered it twice in a year, but I want a brown dial. I like the brown dial too. Don't get me wrong. Anything chocolate in Rolex is completely beautiful. But you know, hey, listen. I got to say the one of the most confusing things about day dates and date justs are the confusing thing is the incredible array of dials. So many to choose from. It's really kind of hard to pick out what you want. Stop worrying about resale. Start enjoying enjoyment. Looking for the Oris Big Crown Pointer date. Really different way to have the date complication. Agreed. It's got that, 31, in little tiny numbers all around the dial. And then there's a pointer, like a seconds hand with a little arrow on it that points to the day. Not my favorite complication, but it's cool. I like things at a glance. Let's get the quick fist watch check out of the way. And today I am wearing the Omega Seamaster 41 millimeter black dial. I got the white one too. So guys, the point of this show is basically to entertain you. And the other point of Rebel streaming is to irritate the Death Star. So those who are over there broadcasting on the Death Star, our job here is to just do it better. That's all there is. I just want to thank you for being with me. Your super chats are not required. However, they are in fact appreciated. Joining us today, Random Rob. Old stuff is just meh. It's just old, and I completely agree with you. Rob, I'm going to put the link up in case you would like to join me, Rob, or any of the rest of you who actually intend to behave themselves. But certainly, Rob, you're definitely welcome. Rob wants to know, is there another live stream? Well, there's this thing called the Death Star, and they're in the cafeteria arguing over food items and and who gets to sit at the cool kids table. So yeah, not one worth watching. This is it, unless you're streaming right now and I don't know it. Okie dokie. And my point of view is looking forward to watch Rebel streams every day. My pledge to you is 100 Rebel streams. Now, I may miss a day or here, but I am going to consecutively number these. And the answer is, you can kick me off the Death Star stream only once, but I shall Rebel stream 100 times by way of revenge. Luke, Chico, I am your father. So here we are together. Once again, thank you for joining me. Hit the like on this, by the way, guys, because it's very hard to get likes on a live stream. So it makes it easier if you'll do it for me while you are in the room. Subscribe to this channel so we can do this again together. And probably most importantly of all, most of you are probably already subscribed, but you haven't hit the notification bell, which normally doesn't matter, but for live streams, it kind of does. So if you hit the notification bell, you will get a heads up when the mood strikes me and I come to join you guys. So go ahead and hit the notification. I got an email today from a gentleman who said, hey, 12 years I've subscribed to all kinds of YouTube channels, never hit the notification bell, but I did it for you today. So thank you to that fella. Now, one other sort of order of business. I'm going to post my Instagram down here, and it is Chicago_dog_trainer. Now, the reason that I'm telling it to you and posting it for you here in the comments, our trainer, the reason is that I am also going to start doing some short videos, more focused. These are like 40 minutes, an hour, hour and a half, depending on how things go. They're kind of like long live streams. But I will be entertaining some of your questions that you send me by DM on Instagram. I'll just make short focused videos on questions of interest. Okay, guys? So go ahead and follow me on Instagram, and that way I'll notice your DM. Chicago_dog_trainer. I post pictures about food, watches, and dogs. Those are, that's my interest. Anyway, yeah, and you can hit me up in a DM with a question, and if it's a good question, I will go ahead and make a short, focused video about it. So stay tuned to this channel. Lots of good stuff coming. Darren Brown, I don't trust myself not to buy a fake Franken polished vintage Rolex. So let me just kind of get into the point, because I think Darren has mentioned some of the downsides. Yes, you have to be very careful when buying vintage Rolex. One of the reasons that I avoid it. But I want to start with like the real deal for me. And the fact of the matter is that vintage watches, although yes, of course I appreciate the historical horology which led us to this point. As I said, I might, I like my car and I appreciate the history of the internal combustion engine, but I'm not driving a Model T Ford either. And the reason is that the modern manufacturing techniques and technology have just produced a better modern car. Now, there are guys who have that 67 Ford Mustang in the garage and they baby it, but it's not the daily, I guess that's really the point here. Watches, until you hit almost into the 00s, watches were freaking delicate. And when I say delicate, I'm telling you watches in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s were so delicate that there were very few of them that you could legitimately call waterproof, water resistant. I dramatically recall buying one of the most robust and affordable brand of watches, and I had to buy one every year and a half when I was a young man in my 20s. Seiko, there was almost no such thing. Now, mind you, yes, I'm sure Seiko had the tuna, maybe, as far back then. Maybe they had some really expensive, dive watch, but the average Seiko, which was advertised as water resistant, would eventually, you'd get fog on the inside of the crystal, which wasn't even sapphire. It was, acrylic, because that's really all there was then. And what that also meant was they were going to scratch. Let's get Random Rob in here. Random Rob, thanks for joining me. Appreciate you being here.
How's it going? Haven't hung out with you in a while.
Yeah, no, it's been a minute. Thanks for joining me. I noticed that we've got the facial hair in common, and we've also got the color increasingly in common. We're looking a little bit like Santa Claus, you and me.
Yeah, well, yours is not nearly as white as mine. That's why it's kind of funny. I said the old is just old, sort of thing. It's like, yeah, I'm looking pretty old myself, so.
Well, but the thing is, you got this baby face with the white beard, and you said that mine is not as white as yours. Actually, Rob, there's this stuff called Just for Men, which you brush into your beard, and then you wash your face 5 minutes later, and then you got a little bit of color, because otherwise, yes, mine is exactly the same color as yours. So I got a bone to pick with you, my friend. You know what it is?
No.
All right. I'm a little irritated with you, but not in the Archie way, in the I'm just joshing you way, because every time I watch a video that you've made about a watch, I wind up with a decided itch to get it. Do you remember when you were in your obsessive Seiko monster phase?
Yeah, didn't seem like it was that long ago, but really,
dude, it was like
4 or 5 years.
Yeah, it was quite a while ago. Yeah, I wound up with 3 of those.
It happens. So here's the thing, and I've mentioned it to people many times, is, I mean, don't do, like, my channel, that's like a fantasy world. Like, you don't, like, I'm posting 2 videos a day, at least 1 video a day of a different watch every day. That's not reality. You can't do that. That's not normal.
Have you ever eaten at like a Benihana restaurant where they're flipping things up in the air and then like shoveling them over onto your plate?
I did just go when I was in Chicago, which you ditched me.
Yeah.
I did go to some sort of weird barbecue place I've never been to. I'm not used to big cities.
Yeah.
And there was a it's it's like a buffet style or whatever, but they keep bringing like skewers of meat out,
Okay. All right.
and they flip them onto your plate. They're like basically you have a card, red or green.
I understand. Oh yeah, yeah. You went to a Brazilian steakhouse.
Yeah,
Well, okay. Same concept. Here's the thing. They can bring it faster than you can eat it. But if you're me, you try and keep up with them, and then you just get sick. And that's me with your channel. I am trying to eat that steak as fast as they can pile it onto my plate, and I'm trying to get these watches that you're reviewing as fast as you review them. But it's true, it's not reality. It's really hard to keep up with you.
yeah. I highly advise people not to even try. Like, just treat it like window shopping. Sure, if you want to watch and you're a watch obsessive, it's a great thing to just be like, oh, cool, another watch. But it doesn't mean you need to go out and purchase every single one of them. I mean, even if you're buying, $160 G-Shocks or
I've got like 6 of them.
right,
I have that one. I have that one.
$200 like C strings or something like that. You can't even those, like it's gonna like get out of control fast.
Here's the problem, Rob. When you say you can't do that, well, actually, I can. It's just that I shouldn't, but I kind of have. So I've never really done a state of the collection because I never really wanted to know how many watches I have. But the other day I started buying watch boxes, and I think I must have like, I'll really have to do a proper count, but I think I'm up to I think I must have 50 of them.
50 watch boxes.
No, 50 watches, from the sublime to the ridiculous.
Oh, that's nothing. Don't worry about it.
Well, I'm glad that I'm that's not too bad. Like, in other words, misery loves company. If you have a similar illness, then like I might feel a little better about myself.
Yeah, I think I mean, if you're going to really do this hobby, I think it's best to just really not know how many watches you have. I mean, some people are very clinical about it. It's usually they're in the engineering fields or something, but
Right.
they'll have like spreadsheets, and they have like, they know how much they bought them for, how much they sold them for, how many they have, when they had it, why they liked it, why they didn't like it, all that stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's almost a more unhealthy behavior than it is just to consume them.
I agree. Now, let me ask you a question, Rob. How many watches do you have?
I don't know. But
Yeah.
it's less than what you think, but it's more than what I think.
Okay, so you are my spirit animal. Like, we are fellow travelers in this, through this mental ward that is watch collecting. Because I don't know either. I've been asked many times, but I never really wanted to add it up.
Well, so like, where am I at? Those don't count.
Yeah.
Like, that's like a watch box of 30, but those don't really count because it's like Casio World Timers and some micro brands that were given to me and miscellaneous stuff. And then,
well, I love that, because
I mean, you can't see it, but there's like cubbies full of watches.
So, Rob, in my opinion, any watch under your roof, is your watch. So here's what we know: you're like a golfer. You've handicapped yourself by 30 before you even start counting.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Of course, you think it's fair. It's part of the syndrome, part of the illness. Real quick, Rob, I know you know him. What am I blanking on his last name? Real quick, Jeff
McMahon.
Jeff McMahon, who has a wonderful channel. And by the way, guys, Random Rob has an incredible channel. I'm sure you all know him. But in the odd chance that there's somebody listening right now who doesn't know Random Rob,
don't plug me.
You absolutely want to go watch it. But Jeffrey McMahon, he's also one of the early guys I came across. And he talks a lot about the mental illness that is watch collecting. And fellas, he just wrote a book. I'm going to review it. I haven't read it, but I will review it for you. But I urge you all to go on the Amazon, because you can buy it on Kindle. It's only $4, and it's called The Watch Collector or something like that. Hold on, let me get you the actual name of his book.
Yeah, he messaged me this morning too, and I knew he was doing it. But actually, I'm going to meet up with him probably Saturday. I'm flying out to California Friday, and I'm going to be near where he's at. He met me last year, so hopefully he'll meet up with me.
Excellent. It's called The Secret Life of Watch Addicts.
Yeah. And it's more fun, fictional, but like with some solid truths in it.
Yeah, I'm sure. So I can't wait to read it. And it's all at $4. So, you guys, I recommend you support Jeff McMahon with your $4 purchase. He offered to send it to me, to give me an electronic copy of it so I could review it. And I was like, hell no. I write books too. I know how much work it is. I'm going to spend the $4 lousy. And guys,
Oh, I'm sure it was rough too. He had to go stay at his brother's in Kauai or something, and and struggle to write this fictional book, with all of his thoughts. I'm sure it was rough.
Let me tell you what, he told me it was only 50,000 words, so it wasn't so bad. And I'm just concluding a 50,000 word book now. Sit down and write 50,000 words. It's, that are coherent.
Oh, I know. He said it's like 170 pages or something.
Yeah.
So, 50,000 words, like, I'm not big into reading either. So, like,
well,
if you could read it and just tell me what it is all about, that'd be great.
I'll do that. Hopefully it'll be on Audible, because audible.com, can just electronically convert it. Or a lot of phones have an app where you could take a document and then just have it read aloud to you. Because not everybody is a reader. And in fact, my partner has dyslexia, so he likes to use the phone a lot in order to have it read, to him. But long and the short of it, guys, is we are a weird and unusual tribe, and Jeff McMahon is really I don't know, if we're lucky, they'll make a movie, or somebody will option his book, to make a TV series about the crazy that is us. Vintage. Okay, here's my beef with vintage, and then Rob, I know you're not crazy about it either. So I'll get your take on it, and we'll talk to the guys. My issue with vintage is it can be hard to find one that's not frankened, that's not polished, that's not fake. Sure, that can be a challenge. But at the end of the day, even if you accomplish that, it's going to be delicate. It's probably not going to be truly waterproof. It won't be very, very shock resistant. Back in the 60s and 70s, watches, if they were dust proof, the manufacturer would brag that it was dust proof, because dust would get into the mechanisms and gum up the works, and then the watch would start running slow. They easily become magnetized, very easily become magnetized. So if you were to knock a watch, forget about dropping it. If you just knocked it into something, it was going to the watchmaker. But in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, there was a watchmaker on every single corner. And Rob, I'm definitely older than you. I remember a phenomenon that you probably don't, which was a watchmaker in every shopping center, and also a shoe repairman. And they called them shoemakers. A shoemaker, because shoes were meant to be used and last for years. And so there were guys who would rip off the old soles and sew on a new one. You didn't throw away shoes, you repaired them. That's a lost art in the world of disposables. So what I don't like about vintage watches is specifically how delicate they are. The modern stuff, you can bang it around, you could take it into water, you can run it through an MRI machine or the X-ray at the airport, and nothing bad's going to happen to it. What do you think, Rob?
100% agree. And then, unless you have some sort of romantic connection to the old stuff, there's people that just are more eclectic, or I don't know, they have to have that sort of connection with the past. But I know you focus heavily on Rolex, so you're talking about vintage Rolex, but vintage everything, you're saying vintage any watch in the vintage era. Yeah. There's so many companies out now that are reissuing, much like old movies. I'll get in arguments or conversations with people and be like, yeah, this old movie is way better than the new one. And I'm like, it's not. The new movie's better. Right.
Very slow. It's,
Right. So the same thing, the new watch that is paying homage to the vintage one is just far superior. It's
absolutely. Look at the Black Bay 41 or 58. They're terribly robust. The Breitling Heritage Ocean 58. It's got a push-in crown, so they're really going right back to their roots with a push-in crown. But it's 100 meters of water resistance. It's anti-magnetic. It's accurate to within 4 seconds per day. I've got the rainbow. One. So even these reissues are built with robustness in mind. Absolutely. Anyway, let's work in a comment or two here. I wanted to kind of give me a minute here. Point of View says my Grail day date is the olive dial rose gold, and I think that's the new one. I kind of feel like
I have a friend that has that watch. It is, and I've tried it on. I've actually done it. I've got a video of it. It's amazing. And the weight. it's just
Well,
you got solid gold, but
yeah. If you haven't tried on a solid gold piece, guys, it's shocking how heavy it is. And then my AD over at James and Sons let me try on a platinum day date, the one with the smooth bezel and the ice blue waffle dial, and it was probably twice as heavy as the gold. I mean, like, you feel like you know what an object should weigh, because just based on your life on Earth, you know about gravity. So you see a thing, you know what it's going to weigh. This is like a different matter. It's like picking up a small cardboard box that you think is going to be filled with, like packing peanuts, but it's filled with like lead sinkers, from fishing, and it's a lot heavier than you think. And so yeah, crazy.
And vice versa. Like if you start messing with some crazy titanium watches, it does the same thing.
It's weird, but in reverse. Like I have the titanium, the Pelagos blue, which is in titanium, and it's pretty thick. It's like 14 millimeters tall, 42 millimeters wide. So it's a pretty beefy watch, but it weighs half of what you would think it. I also feel like green has become the new blue, and blue was the new black. So green is the they started with the Kermit and then the Hulk, but that green is sort of spreading throughout the world.
Colors are going to be cyclical, but when you're talking about a color that is whether it's exactly, but if it's the brand's corporate color, then I think it takes on a whole nother meaning, like where the green is like, that's Rolex green, right? Just like, I'm wearing a Breitling, and I wish they would have done
a yellow. Hold it high. Oh, yeah, that's another one. Is that the 40? That's the 42, right?
42 in orange, the previous generation. I was begging them to do this in a yellow dial. They did the yellow in the 44.
Right.
I own two of these. I own the white one and the orange one.
Okay, I know that.
If they would have done the yellow, I would have bought that too.
Yeah, I've seen your video. That's how they get you. That's how they get you. I have that same watch, Rob. I have it in the blue. And what I'll tell you, you were instrumental in my determination to buy mine. And one of the things that you said that is absolutely true is that the lume, Breitling is like okay for lume, but Seiko is best known for lume. But that particular watch that you just held up, it's lume, and I'm going to use a word that you use in your videos, especially when you're talking about Lumibrite. It's nuclear. It's absolute lume Armageddon. You can hit that with a UV flashlight for 10 seconds before you go to bed. And when you wake up in the morning at 5 o'clock and it's still dark out, you will be able to read that watch without recharging it. It's incredible lume.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the lume on it. I almost toyed with the idea of selling both mine. Because we're watch obsessives, and I'm sure you've bought and sold many watches too. But I get in these mindsets sometimes where I'm like, well, if you look at a small portion of your collection, you're like, well, if I sell that, and that, like I could pick up
the
that.
Other. Yeah.
So,
I hear you. Instagram, that's my Instagram, guys. You might want to just follow me there, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to start taking questions by direct message, by DM on Instagram, and then you can, I'll make short videos because they can't all be rebel streams. But I'm committed to 100 of these guys. So
you're going to do 100 of these?
You know what? I don't get mad, Random Rob. I just get revenge.
Yeah, I don't even know what's going on. I mean, I kind of do, but I don't follow those other channels, so it doesn't matter. It's
such silly stuff.
Hey, did you see my my first ever collaboration with a brand?
Let me see. I saw. I didn't watch the video yet, but I did see that you made a video about it. Tell us more, just so we know.
Well, that's just it. Like, I mean, I could tell you that it's awesome and it's great and everything, which it is, but like you can't get one. So
give me the deets. What is that?
It's a Borealis Sintra, and it's just very clean, white dial, very legible, good lume, nice bracelet.
42.
It's a 41 by like 47.
Okay,
really
so it's
it wears really good.
Yeah, let me see that clasp, because that's the
clasp is not great. That would be its Achilles heel. It's just a simple friction.
All right, but it's milled, so that makes me happy.
Yeah.
How many micro tests?
4.
That's good, because sometimes you only get 3. How's the lume?
The lume is great.
That's the thing.
But we only made 50 of them.
Oh, wow. Now,
Well,
what does it say on the dial?
51. This is the proof.
Let me see if I can make. I don't know. Rob, I don't know how to do stuff. But give me a minute. Let me see if I can make you the big guy. Nope, I've made me the big guy. Hold on.
We're already split. You don't have to.
I don't know how to. I want to make it big. I don't know how to do it.
There you go.
There we go. All right.
I don't know how to get this thing to focus.
Yeah, it's focusing on your face. So
I'm trying to hide. So I don't know. Cool. It's just exciting to me because
the bracelet looks like a president. Looks like a presidential bracelet.
Yeah, it's kind of like a president-ish. And it's got my logo on the case back.
Okay, that's neat. You know what? I do not listen. Let me tell you on clasps. Yeah, I like a clasp that's kind of like adjustable on the fly. I do. I'll be honest with you. But where I have sort of like less, like I am tolerant of a friction fit clasp, especially when it's a 2 clamshell construction. But I really, really think that stamped scissors, that part of the clasp, that stamped metal, that's just a real letdown. And you've got milled there. So I don't feel too bad about that at all. What's that baby cost?
I don't remember.
It's yours. You're supposed to know.
Well, I think they were $550.
There you go. Neat.
It's got the Miota in it.
Okay.
There was a couple of them on eBay.
They're on eBay already. Okay. Well, where can people get the random Rob Borealis if they want one?
You can't. We sold all 50 in my private.
Oh, you did. So it's now sold out, discontinued.
Yeah.
Good for you.
But I have some more collaborations coming out that are going to be a little more wild.
Anything that you can spill the tea on ahead of time or not yet?
No.
All right. Well, I feel like if Rolex was ever to collaborate with me, they would send me a first class ticket to Geneva, and then they would give me a Negroni first thing. This one's empty, which is kind of sad. But they would give me a Negroni, and then I would wake up chained to a radiator with a morphine drip and a feeding tube right next to Moneypenny, where we would both be kept semi-comatose but alive, because Rolex don't want to kill anybody. But we would be, like chained to the radiator in the bowels of Rolex so that we could stop giving away inside information on Rolex. So I feel like I have to
protect the secret that much.
I feel like I might need to.
Speaking of secrets, I have a Christopher Ward here that's embargoed until tomorrow.
Well, why don't you just open? Hold on, Rob.
Well,
give me a second.
I can't. I can't show it.
I want you. I just like it's like showing plumber's crack. I just want to see like one link, just like the tiniest premiere.
I can't. It's embargoed. Christopher Ward won't work with me anymore. Which whatever.
Yeah, well, let's see that box one more time again.
Ooh, it's actually pretty nice looking. I can show you.
All right. See. Okay, there we go. Look at that, guys. For the first time ever, you are seeing a vulcanized rubber strap with 2 keepers, stainless steel tang buckle on an embargoed Christopher Ward, courtesy of Random Rob, who, by the way, Christopher Ward is only building buzz for your brand, so you can't penalize him for the tease. He will reveal when it's time.
And I don't care. What are they going to do? Stop sending me watches?
Maybe. All right, let's see what else. Let me find some comments here. Boot says his 2 favorite watch channels. Thank you both for your content. It's a labor of love, Rob, because we don't really do it for the money, do we?
You can make tens of dollars.
The problem is that the whole I haven't done this. If you're smart, you have, but I'm not smart. The whole point of doing this would be so that you could like at least start depreciating or writing off some of these like ridiculous watches that we wind up purchasing. Hopefully you have. Like I said, I'm not smart, but a write-off for some of this nonsense would be nice.
Yeah. Well, how many subscribers do you have? You got to switch the screen.
I got 26,000 subscribers.
You should be doing something.
I know. I'm stupid. Listen, I don't look at the money. I don't care about the money. I'm very busy with my work, which is training dogs and writing books. The watch thing for me, and also I'm very, very blessed. I'm a business owner. Okay. Like dog trainer. Yes, that's my profession, but I own a dog training business and I'm a published author. And so I'm very blessed that I can be comfortable. So I use YouTube more as you know, to scratch the itch than, you know, than anything else. Because I don't know if you know this, Rob, but I'm opinionated. I got lots to say.
Yeah, I mean, from my channel, obviously it continues to grow despite my lack of effort, but it's
It grows because of who you are. You are everyman. You are the normal American dude. That's who you are, you know, and you have the same interests and concerns as all of us. I still remember when you went and looked at your first Breitling and you were almost afraid of the money. And that's normal, you know.
Yeah.
That's like a normal reaction to have that heart gripping, oh fuck. You know, like, will my wife kill me if I buy this?
So one of my first luxury watch purchases was the watch that you're wearing now. Was the 41 with the ceramic.
Didn't you get the white one?
Well, no, because you got Oh wait,
I know that was a late release.
Yeah. So I had the previous one, the old one.
Yeah.
Okay. But still, yeah, whatever. So I forget what I paid for it, and I do manual labor. Like I dig holes, I use pipe wrenches, I work on appliances, that sort of thing. So
you're a manly man.
Now I'll wear my Rolex working on a dryer. I don't whatever. You know, it doesn't matter. So but back then, I mean, that was like a $2,500 watch. That was insane. That thing stayed parked in a box.
Yeah, I hear you. I got very lucky on this one. This is the newest one, but I've had it for a few years. And a buddy of mine who was military bought it on base for a military discount. Then, you know, eventually decided he wanted to sell it. And so he sold it to me for, you know, like a little bit less than what he paid for it. And this was before watches went completely nuts. And I paid $2,900 for this. You know, now at the time they were like $4,000. Now they're a little over $5,000. Used to be it was $4,000 with it, and then you'd get a discount. Now it's $5,000 and you don't.
I did have the white one. I sold that to Bruce, and I sold it to him crazy cheap. I bet you it was, I don't even know, probably less than what you paid for that.
That's crazy because that one is the heart of all of them now. That's the great white they call it. It's the hardest one to get, and it's the one they discount the least. But that's what's happened in like the last maybe year or so. So
I don't know about you, but like I'm not finding myself attracted to watches that other people are. So like that white one, I got it back when only a couple people had it, and then it seemed like everybody, the market flooded with them, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm out. I don't want it. Like it's, you know. And now I'm looking at like revival brands, Phoenix brands, whatever you want to call them, rise from the ashes, you know.
Yeah.
And because they're, you know, like if I wear my Oleg and Waz, no one else is going to have one of those on wrist.
You know what I got that's kind of in that category is what was that Neil Armstrong watch, the Wolfram Douglas skin diver with a well, just look it up when you get a minute. I would like bring up a web page right now, except for once again, I don't I'll study up.
I tried doing that the last time I did it. It crashed the whole thing.
You know what? I'm almost convinced. Yesterday, I was live streaming with the rancher, and I accidentally kicked myself out of my own live stream three or four times.
Yeah, but it keeps going. It doesn't shut off. You gotta,
which
like,
is
log
terrible.
back in.
Well, that's a problem. You got to come back in, or it's just going to like keep it. Plus, which like of all the people that you want to leave in charge of your audience for hours on end, the rancher is not the one.
What's he doing? I haven't seen him on video or anything in a while.
He's good. Yeah, he's good. He never turns on his camera anymore.
Right.
You know, he's become a little bit of a recluse, but he's well. He's he's good. He is as he always has been. Let's see. Sicilian Gamer says, Mark, all your Rolex will be vintage someday and just as beautiful as they are now, but likely more unique. And of course, everything ages, except for me and Rob. That's true. Everything gets older. But I'm sure over time they will come up with new, better, cooler improvements on watches. But the watches that we have today have the silicone hairspring, at least in Rolex, the Paraflex shock absorbers, the sapphire crystals, the solid bracelets instead of those hollow center links that stretch. They had, guys, Rolex was making stamped, friction fit, crappy clasps into the 2000s when every other decent watch brand had surpassed them with milled clasps and solid end links. Rolex rested on their laurels for so long that they should have been ashamed of themselves. And the watches from those days, if you like them, more power to you. I understand they were expensive, and I owned a bunch of pre-ceramics, but when I compare them with the Rolex of today, they are flimsy, they are lightweight, they're nasty, vicious, and vinyl. They're just not nice.
So that brings up a whole nother topic. I've had this discussion with many friends.
Mm-hmm.
Should you upgrade, like refresh? So like you were saying, you've owned the old ones, right?
Yeah.
And then people are saying like your current ones are going to become old. Like I have the sub 41 sub, and I have the Air King, the previous.
You have a 41 sub. You have the latest gen. I don't have one of those.
Right. But
yeah,
at some point they're going to revise that. Should I cash out on mine and get the new one?
Well,
to stay current.
So the answer depends on how mentally ill you are. I mean, so, everything is a little bit relative. So let me just say, I personally would not. You probably will. And I'm going to tell you why. I feel like I'm a little more ill than you are, and I get something. I have a phenomenon. I suffer from an illness, which I'm not sure that you do. I don't think so, based on your personal history. My problem is I get pre-seller's remorse, not seller's remorse. I get when I think about selling a watch, I immediately get panic attacks and start to miss it. So I find myself almost unable to sell a watch. Now, I've sold some Rolex, but as Blue Shirt Buddha drummed into my head finally, never sell Rolex. And so you are a little bit more like Bruce, maybe a little healthier. And you guys seem to me to say, look, there's only so many dollars that I want to invest in this stuff. It's time to recycle some of those dollars. This can go, something new can come in, and then I can experience something new. And I feel like that's a pretty healthy outlook. But
I'm probably more in between you and Bruce somewhere, honestly. I know what you're talking about, the anxiety of pre-seller's remorse or whatever.
I'll miss it and then I'll buy it again.
Well, and I've done that before, and I've now committed to not doing rebuys.
Oh, the
different colorway is excluded from a rebuy. So I could buy the same thing in a different colorway, potentially. That gives it pass, but you can't really do that with Rolex. It's not like they have I could go get the two-tone sub.
Yeah.
Or something.
So, the difference between your 41 millimeter sub and a 40 millimeter sub is negligible. I've compared them. Finally, I got to wear one. And to me, the biggest thing is, your bracelet's a little bit wider and your clasp is a little bit longer. Yeah, and I know the lugs are mildly more elegant, but they're so subtle that I don't think it's worth an upgrade. If something radical happens, that could change. Let me work this guy in real quick. Junior Johnson. My friends say they already have a watch. Why would they buy another one? That's like saying, you have underwear. Why would you buy another pair?
Hey, my goal is to make enough money that I never have to, or how do I do this? For me, socks and underwear, I know this is a weird spin on topic here, but I don't ever want to have to wash them and wear them again. Like I would prefer just to have a brand new pair of socks and a brand new pair of underwear every day.
I think that's a great goal. Obviously,
that's a ridiculous goal.
No, listen, everybody needs to have a goal. Mine was never about watches. My financial goals. I'm actually. This is a bit weird and intensively personal. So don't worry that I'm going to ask you questions about this. But I always found I was much better at making money than I was about spending it or investing it. Now, I'm not complaining. I just got other people to kind of figure that out for me. But I feel like I'm stupid with money once I have it, So I know people who don't necessarily make a lot of money, but who have intensively studied how to invest and how to create wealth, how to manipulate money. And I think that shows a great deal more respect for money than what I have. Rob, I'm going to confess to something to you here now. You could be my father confessor. Please make the sign of the cross for me, at this time, and feed me communion when we're all done, because I want to give you a mea culpa, mea maxima culpa. It has been 64 years since my last confession. And I lost a watch. When I say lost, I mean this fucker is MIA. If I'm lucky, it's somewhere in my house. If I'm unlucky, then somebody who was in my house stole it, and I'm not entirely sure which, because it's been missing for about 4 months now. And it's a 42 millimeter Breitling Chronomat chronograph, which is like $8,000. I bought it for $5,000. Very nice one. But I got a $5,000 my cost watch. I don't know, floating somewhere. Maybe I'll come across it. I hope. I pray. I put it in the sock drawer and forgot.
That's a lot of money.
It's insane. It's insane. Right. It's
well,
disturbing. It's, you know.
It is. And I could understand how something like that could happen. I've done a very good job of controlling what's here in this room because it's, you know, isolated and protected. But yeah, I mean, it sucks, and it's maybe even really bad to say this, but like, it's going to be okay.
Well, it has to be okay. I mean, I really have been through some mental twists and turns over this, and you know what happens, Rob. You put a watch away long enough, it occurs to you, or you see a video or an Instagram, you want to pull it out and wear it. And I've had many moments where I wanted that watch, and I can't find it.
Is that like the newer one with the bullet bracelet and stuff? I just did a video on that.
Oh, you bastard! Send it back.
No,
how'd you get it out?
Send it to me.
Oh man,
yeah, that's a really nice watch. I can't believe you just threw it away.
No, I didn't throw it away, dude.
I
lost it. Yeah,
away, same thing.
Yeah. Well, you know, you were really supportive there for a hot minute, and then you found out which exact watch it was, and you were like, "Fuck you, you idiot." But I gotta say, I'm a little hard on myself for this one because I was careless with a $5,000 object.
Yeah, it's not like you set it onto the roof of your car and drove off. Like it probably didn't fall out of your house. People have no idea what we're talking about.
I will tell you, we're not going to go there, but the OG members of the watch community know exactly what random Ralph was just talking. And no, I did. Oh, I did. Oh, Bruce is gonna kill us.
No, he's not. He's laughing. He ain't watching, but like, even if he hears about it, like he'll laugh too. He doesn't care.
You guys can talk about it in the comments, but I think Rob and I are gonna move on. Peter saw the TSO PRX in person for the first time. I had everyone in my local AB staring at the finish. There were watches 3 times the price that looked worst on display. What a ridiculous piece. It is sick, nasty, nice, especially the chronograph, don't you think, Rob? For that price.
Yeah, so I've done the video on the chronograph.
Of course you have.
I really like it. I think still my favorite chronograph is going to be the Longines Big Eye, though. Like, honestly, out of all the chronographs I've handled, I love that one.
How much does that one retail for, though?
I don't know.
Because the PRX is like, you know, $1,500, $1,600. It's like such a great price.
I think it's like $1,750 or something, isn't it? And then, but I mean, you might get a deal on it. But
I heard Sushi wants to know if you still have the white OP, but I think you don't. Do you?
So that's where I could have used some solid advice on selling Rolex. I sold that. I bought that from James and Sons.
Oh,
back
nice.
When Rocky worked there.
Right. He retired from there, but good guy, Rocky.
Yeah, I still talk to him occasionally.
Yeah, nice.
So I bought that. I ended up feeling like it was too small. Plus, I mean, you got to remember too, this was a while ago, and I wasn't ready for it.
Was it a 36?
39.
39. You and I have the same 7¼ inch wrists. Bruce, me and Bruce, we've all got the same size wrists. Different.
Which is the correct size wrist. In case anyone's wondering if they have the right size wrist or not, 7¼ is the correct size.
That is the absolute. But yeah, 39 would be like the smallest you could wear. You know.
Yeah. Because it wore smaller than the size would indicate. Now, the Air King being at 40, that's perfect. And it's a little bit thicker. So I sold that white OP and shipped it to somebody in the military because it went, I forget that mail system, or USO or whatever. It went overseas, and I assume he still has it. It was some officer. that reached out to me, and I probably lost like $100 on it.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
but you
today,
know, in hindsight, if I would have held on to that for like another 2 years,
you'd have
I
made
mean,
two
that
thousand.
white OP39 skyrocketed.
You'd have made a couple grand on it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Junior Johnson's not sure how many he watches, he owns, and you're in good company because we don't either. I'm just kind of flipping through these to see who's got what to say. Tudor gives a vintage look on Rolex, and that's true. Especially with all. What do you think of these kind of sort of Rolex reissues that that Tudor is doing, like with the Pro? What do you think
I
of
bought and
those?
sold the Pro really quick.
What did you did? It was too thick, or what? Why'd you get rid of it that quick?
Well, completely honest, and I said this in my video, is I part of the reason, because I really actually like the watch. It was a very cool watch. A little thick. Nobody's arguing that against that, but I borrowed money to buy it, and I used to do that, and I used to be fine with that because I could pay it off within a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But I'm like, for some reason, it really bothered me that time. I was like, no, it's got to go.
Well, you're getting to be a big boy, Rob. As you grow up, you know, as the older we get, the less we like debt. So I kind of understand why you might have wanted to pay that off and get that little monkey off your back. We got a super chat from Show Enough for the revenge fund, just to make Pat so angry. Thank you, Show Enough. Remember, I don't get angry, I get revenge, and this Rebelstream is really, less about the money, more about the passion. So thanks for joining me, guys. Alfred E. Newman says, rational and sane, well, after a few drinks, maybe. Something about watches, which is us. I'm getting a bad migraine on the other stream. Keep it up, Mark, as he said. Well, we will sure try. Rob, we've been here for almost an hour. I'm going to tell the guys to get ready to wrap it up, to hit the like button on this stream. Rob, we'll address a few more questions. I'm going to throw them over to you to see what you think of this stuff. But guys, hit the upvote on this one, and remember, hit the notification so we can do it again together. Rob, can we convince Mark to get an all-metal G-Shock square? Let's go. Come on, Rob.
Have you tried one?
Yeah, I owned it. I sold it.
Oh, okay. Well, then you did it. I mean,
I did.
There's a bunch of different ones to choose from. Like, I still have the gold one. I call it the Bling Master.
Yeah.
And I like wearing it and stuff, but I don't wear it a ton. Like, it's and I've had the titaniums. I had the MRG. The MRG is kind of like, you talk about stealth wealth. It looks like a $40 G-Shock, and it's $3,500.
Yeah, that's crazy. You know what really annoys me? G-Shock really, well, first the G-metal square. The thing with the square is I don't know. It's like it's a very, very good watch. I mean, it's the technicalities, the specs on that watch, very, very good. I just found it somewhat boring. And it's weird that it's like a $500-600 watch that there's a $45 version of in plastic. So it's just like weird in that way. But that being said, I thought it was a cool watch, but my love affair with it ended prematurely. You know how G-Shock does these special editions with the I don't know, remember exactly what the ionized colors. So they wind up, yeah. So I forget which of them I like, man. I jumped on one of them. They're like $2,000 watches, or something, maybe $1,200. So $1,200.
You're talking like the MTGs and stuff.
Yeah. So I was on the G-Shock mailing list for that kind of thing, and what happened was I got onto the website just in time to buy one of those special editions at retail, and they took my money, and I was so excited, and I was like weeks waiting for the confirmation on that watch, because I was one of the few that was in time, because those things sell out instantaneously, and then they just booted out my order. So I'm sure they discovered that they took too many orders, or they could make more money by selling them a different way. But I felt like there's no honor. There's no honor when you have when your PayPal account has been billed and they just decide that, we don't want to sell it to you after all. So I was just jaded on that. And I don't want any more G-Shocks, because that watch then appeared on eBay for like $3,500, right away after that. So just just kind of upset me. What's the one right under the MRG with the sapphire crystal? I have one of those. It's like $1,000. It's a nice one.
Yeah, there's quite the range within. I mean, Casio is great, and G-Shock's part of Casio, so there's quite the range of watches within them. I'm having a hard time connecting with quartz lately for some reason.
You're having a hard time connecting? Weird, because I sort of went over a little bit to the quartz side after years and years of only an automatic, and again, the Random Rob channel strikes again, because I wound up with a Bluna, the blue Seiko tuna, which you of course reviewed because you review everything.
You talking about the newer one?
Yeah.
The sapphire, that's the best one.
I love that watch. You hit that that watch with a UV flashlight for 10 seconds and it will glow for like 48 hours. And I think it gains. Mine runs a little fast, which is nice. I would say it gains like 2.5 seconds per month.
People ask me about like maintaining the watches and servicing them. Literally, the only watch I've ever had an issue with was actually a quartz Seiko tuna that I had to go to an SBVN tuna. I had to go to Seiko and they had to put a new movement in it.
That's weird. Yeah, that's unusual. But apparently they covered it. Me, the only service I've ever had to do on quartz was replace a battery. I've got a couple of 3. That's the other thing. This is the Seiko Sawfish. I bought like all the dial colors, on that one, or almost all of them. And one of them started like, giving me the low battery indicator with the jumping seconds hand. So, here's an interesting factor. My watchmaker, when he took it apart, he tested the battery and he said it still had like 30% of its battery power left. He said, so he finds it very annoying, but what most of these low battery indicators do is they pull the trigger on the indication. He said probably a year early.
Oh,
yeah.
So you basically have to deal with the double tick or change out a battery that's not depleted.
Exactly. It was annoying. And not only was it annoying, but I was afraid that like, okay, what if I like stick it in a sock drawer or I just ignore it because I don't like it. And then I forget that it's there. And then the battery gets old and it leaks battery acid into the movement, which will kill that's what happened to a lot of the Rolex Oyster Quartz movements. Boys and girls. Oh, well, let's get this out of the way. Thomas Burnett, 899 pounds. Mark and Rob, in your opinion, what has been the best watch release this year that you've handled? Respectos to Blue Shirt Buddha. Well, Rob, you go first. What's the nicest one? Aside from the Random Rob special edition from...
what was the best watch release?
The one that you've handled, it says. So...
That I've handled.
Yeah.
I can't even remember. Like, I'd have to look through my archives. I can't vividly... Nothing really stands out. It's really bizarre.
I remember, because you talked about it not that long ago. You said that you handled, tell me if you've handled something better in last year. You handled your buddy's olive green dial Rolex Day-Date President.
Yeah.
With anything better?
Well, I've handled more expensive, arguably better, but like...
Patek, what else have you played with?
Yeah, but like, are those... I don't know, but they didn't stick in my head. It's not like in the front of my lobe here where I can just bounce out like Elise Nardane, some crazy stuff.
Well, let's go with the most expensive watch that you had in your hot little hands in last year.
Fuck, I don't even know how much it was. I mean, hundreds of thousands. I can't even think what the heck the brand was.
What brand was it?
I don't know. How much are the Elise Nardane?
Well, they've got watches from like $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 on up to the stratosphere, like everybody with gems and stuff.
All right, maybe it wasn't them then. I can't remember. This year though,
guys, this is watch collecting, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen.
I cannot remember. I don't retain that information because somebody else even mentions like, do I get sick of making a video every day or posting a video every day? It messes with my head. I've handled. I don't know how many watches, thousands and thousands of watches. And that's just the ones that I show.
What happens is you have to put it aside so that you can go on to the next thing. You can't retain, that much information in your current, in your current, at the top of your mind. That affects me in dog training a lot, right? At any given moment, I've got 6 or 7 dogs in my kennel. And the funny thing will happen is somebody will call me up about a dog, and I don't remember that dog, even if I've only trained it several months before, because the ones on my mind are the ones I have now. Now you show me a picture of that dog, and I'm like, oh, I remember Sparky.
So I think he was more interested in like the current releases, something new. Like I can mention like probably one of the ones that really stand out in my head is back when I was visiting Bruce. This was a few years ago. This isn't a new release, but I'll mention this one. It was and everyone tries to correct me on me, but it was a GMT Master 2, Ever Rose Gold, gemmed out, or whatever.
Oh yeah,
It
yeah.
was like rainbow, right?
They make
the price tag on it. It was just over $100K.
It's $102,000 or $3,000.
Yeah, it was something ridiculous. Like, and 2,000. It's like, well, 100 wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
But they had one there, and it was actually available. And this was back before everything went crazy. And I'm thinking to myself, before I even realized what the value of it was.
Yeah.
Like,
well, funny story. I know one of those watches that sold and then immediately went onto the gray market for $200,000. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I must run. I have a pressing commitment that I got to get to. Rob, I thank you ever so much for joining me on the stream.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a pleasure to spend some time with you. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be Rebel streaming again. Please join us. Rebel stream. I don't get mad. I get even. Pushing the button, Rob. Thanks again.